Good evening. I addressed the nation a number of times over the past 2 years on the problems of ending a war. Because of the progress we have made toward achieving that goal, this Sunday evening is an appropriate time for us to turn our attention to the challenges of peace. America today has the best opportunity in this century to achieve two of its greatest ideals, to bring about a full generation of peace and to create a new prosperity without war. This not only requires bold leadership ready to take bold action, it calls forth the greatness in a great people. Prosperity without war requires action on three fronts. We must create more and better jobs. We must stop the rise in the cost of living. We must protect the dollar from the attacks of international money speculators. We are going to take that action, not timidly, not half-heartedly, and not in piecemeal fashion. We are going to move forward to the new prosperity without war as befits a great people, all together and along a broad front. The time has come for a new economic policy for the United States. Its targets are unemployment, inflation, and international speculation. And this is how we are going to attack those targets. First, on the subject of jobs. We all know why we have an unemployment problem. 2 million workers have been released from the armed forces and defense plants because of our success in winding down the war in Vietnam. Putting those people back to work is one of the challenges of peace, and we have begun to make progress. Our unemployment rate today is below the average of the 4 peacetime years of the 1960s. But we can and we must do better than that. The time has come for American industry, which has produced more jobs at higher real wages than any other industrial system in history, to embark on a bold program of new investment, of production for peace. To give that system a powerful new stimulus, I shall ask the Congress, when it reconvenes after its summer recess, to consider as its first priority the enactment of the Job Development Act of 1971. I will propose to provide the strongest short-term incentive in our history to invest in new machinery and equipment that will create new jobs for Americans. A 10% job development credit for 1 year, effective as of today, with a 5% credit after August 15, 1972. This tax credit for investment in new equipment will not only generate new jobs, it will raise productivity. It will make our goods more competitive in the years ahead. Second, I will propose to repeal the 7% excise tax on automobiles, effective today. This will mean a reduction in price of about $200 per car. I shall insist that the American auto industry pass this tax reduction on to the nearly 8 million customers who are buying automobiles this year. Lower prices will mean that more people will be able to afford new cars, and every additional 100,000 cars sold means 25,000.
Reverend Hill coming in the house is confronting all the spouses. They all got wrongfully accused. Now everyone's confused. Can't figure out who's pointing fingers. He smells like liquor. We all know Hill's got power. Oh, I say one law, you can bring it down like bring it, don't you better get that sweet, it's over your head, sweet, it's all right, boy, it's so absolute earth, Nixon, and then my playing the red. Catherine ain't amused. The Hill will prevail because he's a minister of the Lord,
provide a
fighting to get
strong
the power
boost to the
restored.
economy in general and to employment in particular. The tax reductions I am recommending, together with the broad upturn of the economy which has taken place in the first half of this year, will move us strongly forward toward a goal this nation has not reached since 1956, 15 years ago. Prosperity with full employment in peacetime. Looking to the future, I have directed the Secretary of the Treasury to recommend to the Congress in January new tax proposals for stimulating research and development, of new industries and new techniques to help provide the 20 million new jobs that America needs for the young people who will be coming into the job market.
So caught up in the hysteria, everyone in the area scared they're going to get accused. This behavior can't go on forever, it can't go on unexcused. So look out, because Abigail accusing who? Just be so caught up in the hysteria, everyone in the area scared they're going to get careful, it could be you. Elude the court, your whole life's cooking. Must take charge, hair is cooking. Make sure none of the girls looking, or else you can end up in a slammer.
Government, I have ordered a postponement of pay raises and a 5% cut in government personnel. I have ordered a 10% cut in foreign. In addition, since the Congress has already delayed action on two of the great initiatives of this administration, I will ask Congress to amend my proposal to postpone the implementation of revenue sharing for 3 months.
Or worse, end up hanging from your scanner. Everyone gathered around in a clamor, just to watch you hanging there getting confused. But they don't care, as long as they ain't abused. They all clapping like they amused. Watching each of the time ever falling. It's a sad sight to be recalling. Abigail, Hawthorne, and Hale, they all ballin', so I'm gonna let you know.
Is to stop the rise in the cost of living. One of the cruelest legacies of the artificial prosperity produced by war is inflation. Inflation robs every amount, every one of you. The 20 million who are retired and living on fixed incomes, they are particularly hard hit. Homemakers find it harder than ever to balance the family budget. And 80 million American wage earners have been on a treadmill. For example, in the 4 war years between 1965 and 1969, your wage increases were completely eaten up by price increases. Your paychecks were higher, but you were no better off. We have made progress against the rise in the cost of living. From the high point of 6% a year in 1969, the rise in consumer prices has been cut to 4% in the first half of 1971. But just as is the case in our fight against unemployment, we can and we must do better than that. The time has come for decisive action, action that will break the vicious circle of spiraling prices and costs. I am today ordering a freeze on all prices and wages throughout the United States for a period of 90 days. In addition, I call upon corporations to extend the wage price freeze to all dividends. I have today appointed a cost of living council within the government. I have directed this council to work with leaders of labor and business to set up the proper mechanism for achieving continued price and wage stability after the 90-day freeze is over. Let me emphasize two characteristics of this action. First, it is temporary. To put the strong, vigorous American economy into a permanent straitjacket would lock in unfairness. It would stifle the expansion of our free enterprise system. And second, while the wage price freeze will be backed by government sanctions if necessary, it will not be accompanied by the establishment of a huge price control bureaucracy. I am relying on the voluntary cooperation of all Americans, each one of you, workers, employers, consumers, to make this freeze work. Working together, we will break the back of inflation, and we will do it without the mandatory wage and price controls that crush economic and personal freedom. The third indispensable element in building the new prosperity is closely related to creating new jobs and halting inflation. We must protect the position of the American dollar as a pillar of monetary stability around the world. In the past 7 years, there's been an average of one international monetary crisis every year. Now, who gains from these crises? Not the working man, not the investors, not the real producers of wealth. The gainers are the international money speculators. Because they thrive on crises, they help to create them. In recent weeks, the speculators have been waging an all-out war on the American dollar. The strength of a nation's currency is based on the strength of that nation's economy. And the American economy is by far the strongest in the world. Accordingly, I have directed the Secretary of the Treasury to take the action necessary to defend the dollar against the speculators. I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar